Hey everybody, Garrett here again with Old Breed Outdoors for another one of our reviews as part of our informational series. On today's review, we're going to talk about the Crispi Wyoming II GTX. So I bought these last fall, so I've had them almost a year now, and I've put a couple hundred miles or so on them. And biggest reason I bought these, well, one, my boots fell apart, literally fell apart. I had a different pair of boots. Won't mention what brand they were, but I'd had them for a while and I put a lot of good use in them, and they were good boots, don't get me wrong, but they eventually just kind of fell apart. I had worn them on our archery elk hunt last year that Chris and I did in Eastern Oregon. Got to put the pitch out there. For those of you who haven't seen that video series, go back and check out our September archery elk in Oregon last year. But anyway, I wore those boots there and they started coming apart on me there. Fortunately, they didn't completely blow out on that hunt, but the sole started separating from the main portion of the boot. So it was time to invest in a new pair of boots, and I did a bunch of research on boots and listened to a lot of other people's reviews and settled on Crispi as the brand I wanted to go with. And then ultimately, I ended up going with the Crispi Wyoming II GTX. So, for me, spending money on a good pair of boots is something I am more than willing to do. Because Crispis aren't cheap boots. But, they always say take care of your feet because your feet will take care of you, right? Well, I've got a bunch of problems with my feet, and I needed something that was going to hold up and last and take care of my feet. So, as you can see, I'm sitting here with a boot here on my left foot. Just had ankle surgery about 2.5 weeks ago, and that's my second ankle surgery on that ankle in 3 years. So I've got a lot of damage to both my feet, but I've got plantar fasciitis problems. My right foot, I've got a partial tear in my plantar fascia that will never completely, repair itself, and so I do have problems with that as well. And then with having first ankle surgery was to repair a bunch of damaged ligaments and tendons and do some work on the actual joint, and this one was some more joint work. And unfortunately for me, this is not a problem that's going to go away. This surgery was a temporary fix to get me down the road until I'm old enough to have an ankle implant surgery, which is essentially joint replacement surgery on an ankle, which I didn't even know they had until recently. And then eventually I'm going to probably have my ankle fused at some point later in life. So that being said, I need a boot that will still allow me to get out there in the hills and in the mountains and hike and hunt. So I went with these boots. One of the key features for these boots was the ankle support. So, and I'll go through all the features on this here in just a second. But I will tell you up front, these are an amazing pair of boots. These provide, they're extremely comfortable and provide a lot of support for your feet. I find that hiking these boots on, my feet don't get as tired and aren't as don't hurt as much as they have in the past. My arches feel pretty pretty secure, and this is just I don't have any special arch supports in these yet. I am looking at getting some quality arch supports to put in these things, and when I do, I'll talk about those in a different video. But the basic boot out of the box has been pretty comfortable, and my feet hold up pretty well on them. I'm able to do hike some good miles in them and be pretty comfortable. And then support-wise, it's got all the support in the world. So, the basic overview of these boots, obviously they have the Gore-Tex line, which pretty much all their boots have. These are uninsulated boot, which for me, I want a boot that's versatile. I'm not a big fan of insulated boots for my normal hunting style. If I'm tree stand hunting, that's a completely different story. But if I'm going to be spot and stalk out west, if it's early season, even if it's getting a little bit into the later season, and I'm still hunting, I want to be able to have these type of boots on to get around the woods a little better. And I'll just put on a better pair of socks. So as I said, they have the Gore-Tex waterproof lining in here, and I've worn these in the snow, I've worn them through water, I've worn them in wet dew, everything, and my feet haven't gotten wet yet. I wore these through the late deer season here in Virginia and Pennsylvania as well. I wore them all through early season turkey scouting, a bunch of hiking that I did in the in the beginning of the year, and then I've worn them all through turkey season as well, and no problems with them. They've got the vibrant sole like pretty much every boot in the world has, but this is a pretty solid sole. It's got the 3 flex rating. If you're not familiar with the flex ratings, I encourage you to go kind of do a little more research on that. Again, I talked about the ankle issues that I have and just foot issues I have in general, and having a stiff, solid boot that I can wear. This boot has the ankle bone support system, ABSS, which is one of the things that I want, that really drew me to this particular boot from Crispi, because not all the boots have that. This one does, and it had that ankle bone support system is just a much more reliable support system for your ankle. And I have found that in general, walking through uneven terrain, whether it be in the hills, out walking through turkey woods, whatever, step on a tree root, step on a rock, whatever, the support is there, and I have felt much more comfortable with my ankle, with rolling an ankle or something like that, than I have in the past. It's also got the board lasting mechanical construction, which is something. This is just going to have a much more reliable foundation than some of your other traditional boots that you can buy. On the sides here, it has this for the lacing. This all pulls in. As you can see here, these little pieces on the side that helps pull the boot in tight on your ankle or on your foot. And then it also obviously has this piece here, which a lot of people don't use this piece here, but this is what allows the boot to be pulled tight again, pull your heel in on the boot. This particular style boot does not have what some of the Crispi boots have, where there's actually a piece that comes all the way back here that will help pull it in tight when you lace it up. As I said, it's insulated, and it's built. The upper is built from water repellent suede, and it is very breathable. You have the Gore-Tex lining, and you've got some rubber here on the bottom, and then the upper here with that suede is extremely comfortable and extremely breathable. So my feet I have sweaty feet in general, and these boots seem to breathe pretty well. And of course, make sure you wear good quality socks with them. It has I talked about that rubber piece here, so you have your actual sole, but then it has this little strip of rubber here, which helps really seal it. It provides a lot of protection, especially on the toe up here with your toe, toe kicks on rocks and rough, gravel and different things from really tearing them up. And then it is a 8-inch boot, so it's not your low top style a boot, or super high. This kind of like a mid level is height on the boot is perfect, and it works out pretty well for me with being able to wear it during early season hunts, or even just hiking in the summer with a pair of shorts. These are pretty comfortable. A lot of people like to hunt or hike with a low top style. Me personally, with the issues I have, I try not to hike too much in those. It can be a little clunky for like day hike type things, but again, for me, I'm trying to be a little more careful. The weight on this boot is for a size 10 boot. They show on here on the website is just shy of 2 pounds, 1.95 pounds. This is I'm wearing a size 12 boot here, but still they're pretty lightweight. There are lighter boots out there. There are heavier boots out there, but for what I'm using these for the kind of terrain I'm using them in, I'm out here out east in Virginia. I'm not hiking some crazy mountains. They're perfect, and even still use them out west for our one trip in Arizona. We weren't doing some crazy mountain climbing, but they worked out pretty well. Really curious to see how well they do when we go back to Oregon this year for our upcoming September archery hunt out there. I imagine it'll do pretty well. All the reviews that other people have done, and the research I've done, I think I'm going to be very pleased with how these perform when we go back to Oregon. Bottom line, if you're looking for a quality boot, this is a good boot. Crispi makes a bunch of different boots, and there are other styles that could work just as well for you. I encourage you to check them all out. And obviously there are other brands out there that are just as good, if not better. And for me, this is just what I wanted to try, and in the price range that I wanted, because you can get much more expensive than this with a lot of the technical mountaineering style boots that are out there. So for me, I went ahead and did this. As always, I talk about opportunities to get some discounts. Crispi doesn't have one of the best discount programs out there, but for active duty military, law enforcement, they have their program that you can sign up for, and they give you a 10% discount, and that's always appreciated. I'm not only, I put it on there because it is available to you, and for those that can qualify for the program. Not like we're out there looking for all these discounts, but when you're spending this kind of money on on gear and on a pair of boots in this case, being able to save a few dollars to do that is pretty significant. So check that out, and Crispi's a great company that I appreciate the fact that they are willing to provide that discount. So that being said, I mean, there's really not much to these boots to talk about, other than the fact that they're extremely well built, extremely comfortable. They have served me well, and I'm looking forward to a few more years of putting a whole lot more miles on these, and then maybe even I'll look into getting a couple other different pairs of these boots over time here. So as always, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully this provides you some information. I know a lot of times it can be hard to find good quality information out there, especially when you're on these higher end style of gear sets. So I know Chris has his review that he did on the Danner boots that he picked up last year, and those are some really good boots, and I thought about going with those. But for me, the big selling feature on these boots was the specifics of how good these are for ankle support and stability. Not that Danner doesn't do that, but I would encourage you, I'll put the link up here right up on the top on the boot review that he did on his Danners. Go check those out. And thanks, appreciate it, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all the support and all those of you that continue to follow us. And then give us a like, leave a comment, and we'll see you on the next one.